wine enthusiasts. Our adventures with Eric Asimov, the wine critic for the New York Times, continue. So excited to have him in Texas. And again, if you missed our earliest segment, we're at the beautiful Lake Austin Spa, and Eric cut his spa day short to be with us, and we appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Oh, no, believe me, it's our pleasure. And we're talking Southern Italian and island wines, right?
Southern Italian and Sicilian, and these wines are fascinating to me because 25 years ago, Southern Italy, Sicily in particular, you associated them with terrible wines. You know, they were big half gallons,
Exactly.
they were alcoholic or oxidized, and nobody associated these regions with fine wine. But nowadays, Southern Italy and Sicily in particular are some of the most exciting wine regions in the world. Yeah. And the grapes that they're using, the styles that you see, the finesse of the wines, it's astonishing.
Yeah, there are some beautiful wines to be had. And we talked about earlier about transforming you from place, right? Sometimes a bottle of wine will do that.
Yeah. I think it's kind of one of the magic things about wine. You're sipping something from Provence, and suddenly you're on a beach in the Mediterranean. And the same is true with Sicily, or the first wine is from the Campania region, the Amalfi Coast. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth.
Yeah, it puts you there. I love wine experiences, and so oftentimes, whether you love a wine can be attributed to where you had it, because it is so much of an emotional connection with what you're drinking and who you're with and what you're experiencing.
And that's why sometimes when you've had a wonderful wine in some hilltop village somewhere,
Yes.
and then you try to have that experience again on a Tuesday night at home when you've just gotten home from work, it doesn't always work perfectly.
No, I was like, is this the same wine? That's true. Okay, so we're starting with one of my, I love this varietal, a Greco di Tufo.
Yeah, it's a really ancient variety, and it's called Greco because it's said to have originated in Greece and made its way to Italy in ancient times. And to me, it's always a fascinating wine because what we always describe grape aromas and flavors often in terms of other fruits, right?
Right.
We never talk about a wine being grapey.
Right.
But I always think of Greco di Tufo as a grapey wine. I drink this, and this is a wine made from grapes.
I just love it. It's a little fuller bodied, right? Than some of what we normally think of Southern white wines.
It's also got a little bit of smokiness to it, a little earthiness. This is another white wine. All of these white wines, I wouldn't serve ice cold either because they just need a little bit of warmth to bring out the nuances.
You'll get all the more aromas and flavors the warmer it gets.
And, it's funny because Italy, when Italy was celebrated for wine 20 years ago, nobody ever talked about white wine.
That's right.
That was the cheap stuff that sometimes it came in a bottle shaped like a fish, or, it was just cold and fresh and tart, but no more than that.
Yeah.
And now you have wonderful white wines coming from all parts of Italy.
You really do. And that, to me, on some of these Italian wines, the terroir becomes so important and so apparent because you do taste the region in the glass.
And some of these wines come from volcanic regions. The Greco di Tufo in Campania, you have the famous volcano Vesuvius there. And it's not so active anymore, but on Sicily, you have Mount Etna, and Etna is one of the most active volcanoes in the world to this day.
The grapes are very much affected. Now, this is one, I love this wine. The Donna Fugata, and I'm saying
Donna Fugata is the producer. Zabibo
is the grape.
Yes, and otherwise known as Moscato in Italian, or Muscat di Alexandria. There's a lot of different kinds of Muscat.
You get that on the nose. It has that Muscat nose.
Yes, it's You know, it's like inhaling a cornucopia. It's all kinds of different fruits and flowers, and
it's very surprising when you
yeah.
taste it. It's not a sugar bomb at all.
No, I mean we tend to think of Moscato d'Asti, and
Right.
it's you know, very sweet, lightly carbonated wines, which can be really nice. But this is a more serious wine that you would have with food.
Yeah, I like this wine with Thai food. There's something about the spice and the Thai and the nose. I don't know. It all works together.
You know, really aromatic wines like this, or like Riesling, go very well with a lot of different Asian cuisines.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a nice porch wine, too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Texas in the summer. This is a nice wine. Okay.
Very dry.
Very dry.
It'll go with chicken.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very deceiving on the nose because you think you're going to taste Moscato. All right, so these are our Mount Etna wines, right?
Yes. This is an Etna Bianco, and I'm currently obsessed with the white wines of Etna, made primarily of the Caraconte grape. And it's another grape nobody ever heard of 10 or 15 years ago. And what makes Caraconte so interesting to me is that it's a savory wine. It's as if, well, these come from the north side of Etna, and when you're in the vineyards there, you can see the Mediterranean.
From the vineyard?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's from this particular vineyard, but
Right.
many of the vineyards. And people say that the breeze blows in the salt air of the ocean. And so often with Caraconte, you get almost like a little salty tinge to it.
It has a lovely nose, too. And, oh, yes, you get the sea effect, I think, definitely on the taste. Wow.
Yeah, it's almost saline. And this has a floral element. My guess is it's not entirely Caraconte. You see a lot of blends. Sometimes there are other Sicilian grapes like Catarratto, and it's very good. You know, if you find one that's 100% Caraconte, those wines are super fascinating, and I think some of the best white wines that you see from Italy.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, we think this is a blend, but this is nice. So what would you pair with this? A good seafood wine, right?
Seafood, for sure.
Yeah.
Or you could do seafood pasta, you know, clam sauce or shrimp.
It's very refreshing. Very nice. And yet you get the fruit. The fruit and the mineral kind of live hand in hand.
I want to keep drinking that one.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Okay, moving on to, again, another Etna wine, but this is the red.
Yes. And these wines...
Oh, look at the color of that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
These wines have gotten quite a bit of acclaim. The grape is the Nerello Mascalese, sometimes blended with a little bit of Nerello Cappuccio. They go together very well. And it's a fascinating wine, just as it's a fascinating region. I mean, who in their right mind would grow grapes and make wine in the foothills of a very active volcano?
Yeah, very.
I mean, you see this thing smoking and fuming. You know, it probably is doing that right now. And it's not that long ago that, there were serious eruptions there within the last 20 years that sent people, caused people to evacuate.
Well, and the vineyards are right there.
Yes.
So,
I mean,
imagine?
it's not like on the nose cone of the volcano, but in the foothills. And all of that vineyard land is lava. And, we talk a lot about volcanic soils, but you see it in creation in Etna, because you see the ancient lava where grapes are grown now, and you see the modern day lava flows from 10, 20, 50 years ago that are still just kind of very hard brown rock that nothing grows on yet.
Yeah, it's awaiting its time many, many years from now.
And the wines, I think, they have the energy of the volcano. There's something really vibrant about them.
Absolutely, and I'm getting spice. There's some spice to this wine that it's very alive. You're absolutely right.
These, they go with so many different things. I wouldn't think, first off, of pairing it with tomato sauce, but, grilled sausages. You could drink this with barbecue brisket. That would be fantastic.
I think so, too. They're fun, though. It's like get outside your comfort zone with some of these whites and reds from other regions because there's some amazing wines out there to be had.
And this is a very accessible version. There are other ones that you can age. And, it's fun to see a wine region that's really recreating itself. They don't know what the potential is there themselves yet. And you're seeing it all play out.
Kind of like the winemaking in Texas.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of coming into its own, and it's still exploring and learning and improving.
And it's exciting when people take it very seriously and are experimenting with different varieties and different styles of wine.
Absolutely. All right, this has been fun. So next time you're in Texas, we'll go to a different wine region.
I hope so.
Your game?
Always
Yamas
game.
was in Greek. I'm not sure. Italian. Salud.
I always say l'chaim.
L'chaim. I'm right there with you.